Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Antpod. Today is episode 13, and today we will talk about YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikToks. The reason we're choosing to talk about this today is simply because I feel like it have changed Antkeeping a lot. Before, Antkeeping was really Instagram picture-based and YouTube video-based. I feel like these shorter videos have really changed the industry almost, because it have changed a lot of things, and especially Lights Camera Ants, he have been a big focus, as he have done both some good things and some bad things for the hobby within TikTok, and that is something we are going to talk about throughout this podcast today. But firstly, let's say hello to our two co-hosts. Firstly, hello to Sam. How are you doing, Sam?
Hello. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Are you into TikToks and YouTube Shorts and all of this, or what's your thought about it?
So I'm lacking a little bit on the TikTok side. I watch a few TikToks, but I don't kind of produce anything. The YouTube Shorts I prefer a lot more, just because I'm more active on YouTube, so I'll click on things now and again, and waste a lot of time going through. Because even though they're shorter, it tends to be in my brain I can watch more at once, kind of more in that set time. So I still spend about the same, or the what am I trying to say? The amount of time.
Yeah,
watching the content, but it's just broken down, isn't it?
The thing is with YouTube, if you're watching a 10-minute video, you know you're watching a 10-minute video. But with Shorts, you just swipe and swipe and swipe, and I think that's why it's really gone out and been very effective, especially towards young people. But what about you, Casey? You're of course also here tonight, and what are your thoughts about YouTube Shorts and all of this? Is it anything that you're using?
I don't use TikTok or watch YouTube Shorts, but I do end up on the endless Instagram reel scroll kind of often.
That's actually quite funny that all three of us are using difference, because I'm mostly TikTok. I've just recently started seeing YouTube Shorts very little. It's fun that we are on the three different what is it called? Yeah, three different apps.
Platforms.
Platforms, exactly. That's the word. Thank you, Mr. Englishman.
That's what I'm here for.
Exactly. Well, that's the only thing we need to break down. I'm kidding. But I think the big thing to talk about, and the reason I put, if for those who heard episode 12, we did not get Lights Camera Ants on the show, because I actually did want to get him on the show and talk with him, because I feel like he's been very controversial. And I feel it's just something we're going to start off with talking about. So, Lights Camera Ants is a content creator who really exploded using these TikToks, especially TikTok in the beginning, now also YouTube Short. And initially, he had 700 subscribers on YouTube, and I had 200. 1 year later, he had 100,000, and I had 4,000. So, he's definitely on a roll there. And he started a whole thing, or Aesthetic Ants started a whole thing called We Don't Approve, because Lights Camera Ants back then did live feeding something like a wasp to his ants. And he has changed, so he's not doing that anymore. And today he's just doing ant videos, just like I'm publishing a lot of shorts. I'm to be honest, I'm recording a TikTok, then I'm putting it on YouTube and on Instagram, just because I know most of the people will be different people across the platforms. So I know TikTok hits a lot of Danes. YouTube Shorts hit a lot of United States. 80% of my viewers are from United States. I don't know why. Hello, if you're listening, aka Casey. So that's why I'm personally putting the same video out on all the platforms. But I feel like Lights Camera Ants, I can't say anything, but I'm jealous of him, because he's done it. He's hit this 100,000 subscribers on YouTube by just doing shorts. And I can't say anything, but I'm jealous. But what do you guys think of someone like Lights Camera Ants? Starting with, let's say you, Sam.
So now he's kind of changed the way his videos are, or he's kind of the morals behind his video. The morals behind it. I don't see it too much of a problem. And what he does really well is that he appeals to everybody. So even non-ant keepers, it's the thing of they can just be swiping through and they see a 30-second kind of clip, What if you've got a colony that's really, really big, or they're doing something cool? It appeals to everyone, even if they're not automatically interested or a hobbyist and all the rest of it. So I do kind of like what he's doing with that. And even for experienced people, it's entertaining to watch those clips. You don't always want to watch a 10, 15-minute video. You sometimes just want to see the cool best bits. It's like anything of life, isn't it? Everybody wants to see those 10-second clip of, I don't know, the queen moving into the nest, where in actual reality it's taken 5-6 hours. So it's little things like that that I do enjoy watching.
Very good points. Very good point. I got an interesting question today I put out a video of a fly flying into my Tetramorium bicarinatum test tube, and Ants Check said, why didn't you tag it was Tetramorium bicarinatum or somehow show that it was Tetramorium bicarinatum? And that's because I didn't at all. I just said, a fly is inside my ant nest. And that's something I've really changed a lot since I started doing these shorts. Because again, in the beginning, I said, this is my Campanodus circulinus colony. This is the queen. This is 5 workers. And Antkeeping people were interested, but regular people wasn't interested.
Yeah.
And I quickly noticed from Lights Camera Ants videos that he said the things a little bit different. It may not be the correct way. Like he always said, king ants with male ants, and it got a lot of people interested. And my most watched short at the moment, YouTube shorts, is where I say, where's the king ants? And I know it isn't king ants, but I feel it gets a lot more people interested. And I feel like at least my goal with my shorts is to get people into the hobby. And then I can kind of show them into my YouTube videos, my real videos, where I'm talking a lot more correctly. And this is the queen with her eggs that turns into larvae and all of this. But yeah, I feel it's a great method of reaching out to new keepers. What's your thought about it, Casey?
He definitely figured out how to simplify it down for people who, like you and Sam both said, for people who aren't into ants quite the way we are, like just like normal people, I guess. There's because when I'm telling people about ants and I'm like, oh yeah, the queen and the drone, they're all what? So king ants, they're like, oh okay, the queens lay babies and the king ants are the males.
Yeah.
He figured out how to simplify it into layman's terms for uninterested people to be like, oh okay, that's cool. It makes it interesting it appeals to a wider audience is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly, yeah. I've also changed from saying Campanodus to just carpenter ants because, people like hearing the word carpenter ant a lot more as they can somehow relate to it. I would just like to say, pause the podcast and say shout out to the family members who are currently listening live in on the recording. We have Simon and Casper listening live on the recording, so shout out to you too. Thank you for being family members. But yeah, to be honest, I haven't completely. What we're trying to do with these videos, these podcasts, is doing a lot more loose and just walking around. So I think we'll go into a little bit of where the viewers' thoughts, because I did go in on the Ant Pod Instagram to say TikTok, YouTube Short, Instagram Reels, all these new platforms to show strangers Antkeeping. We want to ask you, have these shorter videos helped Antkeeping? And a quite big amount of 82% said yes, with 18% saying no. So at least the viewers here of the Antpod and the voters agree that it's a good thing. And I don't know if we should also just take the next question, because I then asked, and what do you think personally, and what do you personally think of them being YouTube, Instagram, all of these shorter videos? And I don't know if you want to start, Casey, with reading out an answer.
Oh yeah. J Insect says, I feel you should make big videos and small videos so people will learn about ants more. And I totally agree with that, because sometimes some of the best things I've learned come from super short clips of just oh, here's my ants, and they just say something and it's oh okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then other times when, because I don't know if you guys did this, but when I first got into ants, I wanted to absorb all the content. So like
Yeah.
I was trying to find documentary videos and just like long videos of people talking about their ants. Like Oliver on like I always go watch ant room tours. I love like I don't know why, but everybody just they go around and they talk about each individual colony, and then also just the short clips when they're like, "Oh, here's my ants, da 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 da. They do this." You're like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, there's the more there is out there, and the more there is to learn. I definitely agree with that.
Very true. I've started doing a lot of small updates on all my colonies throughout these shorts. So people say, "How's the Fuscas doing?" I'm doing an update on the Fuscas. In reality, there's no news about them, and I don't want to spend 15 hours doing a proper YouTube video saying, "And there's no news." So I feel like the shorter format works very nicely into that regard. I also feel something I'm seeing a lot with TikTok, at least, is there's a lot of kids on it, and of course TikTok is a lot child-based, with which I have nothing against. And I feel like there's a lot of children who are showing their ants, saying, "Oh, this is my new queen I caught the other day," and people are just happy, and there's just "Oh, congratulations," and it's just a lot of positive vibes compared to if you post a picture on Instagram seeing this is a queen, it just gets a like, and yeah, nothing more, of course. I'm referring to the picture-based Instagram because they, of course, also have the reels. So, Sam, would you like to read the next comment?
Yeah, no problem. They're nice when you don't have time for some actual good footage on YouTube, and that was put by Campo Nico Ants.
And
So I think he might be implying there that he possibly prefers the longer videos, maybe.
yeah,
Which I 100% get. It really depends for me personally is what kind of mood I'm in or how much time I've got. On a whole of if I actually just want to sit down and watch a 15-20 minute video as opposed to a few shorts, it really does depend.
what do you prefer
Mm,
when it comes down to it? What would you take?
Probably for me, I like the longer videos, but then
Same.
I think that's possibly because now the longer videos you're going to get that maybe more, I guess, expert information or added something. And I feel like when you get to a certain point or you're experiencing the hobby, you maybe want to watch those long videos with all of that completely nerdy information in it now and again. It also depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes I've just had so much I've had to deal with ants all day. I want to come home and I don't want to watch a 20-minute video, so I'll just scroll through some short ones because my brain can't really take in any more information for the day. I just need to have a bit of a rest. So I think long ones, possibly.
Yeah, I think why we are personally also Casey and I also we also like the longer versions. I think it's because of our age. I feel where someone like Light Camera Ant really shined, what was getting the attention of these. I'm not gonna make any specific ages, but I'm gonna say sub 15, so younger than 15, and I think it's really got a lot of attention from these younger people, and these younger people are. I'm gonna say it outright because that's how it is. It's fact that you have a shorter attention span, and I feel like that's where a little knowledge is better than no knowledge, because some people that aren't totally ant nerds may not go in and watch a video that is 30-minute long, just going through how one Campanotus queen is doing, where they would much rather watch a 45-second clip of one colony and then swipe see another 45 seconds. And I feel like it's really the big thing is the generation is shifting and what we are liking is shifting. Is anything you want to add there, guys?
I think this comes back to a comment you made earlier as well about Camponotus herculinus. You just call them carpenter ants. Is what they tend to feel more kind of engaged to, and it's the human thing of if you don't understand something, you're 100% just then less likely to be engaged straight away. Your brain kind of switches off. So if they're scrolling through a video and then all of a sudden you come across something and you're learning about a new hobby and somebody says some scientific word and you're like, well, I don't understand that. And they're automatically more likely to just go, right, I'm not going to take it in. So try to make it kind of relatable and some way, shape, or form, if that makes sense.
That happens to me constantly when I'm trying to tell people about, like, they're, oh, you keep ants, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I start, listing off the scientific names, and then that just immediately puts people off.
Yeah.
It is so weird. Whereas if I talk about my formica and I call them wood ants, or like my tetramorium, if I refer to them as pavement ants, or my camponotus and call them the carpenter ants, or my harvesters. If I start spouting off like, oh, my Pogonomimex barbatus, they're what? Who?
Yeah.
It definitely puts people off when you start tossing around binomial nomenclature like it's normal.
Yeah, it's I can only relate. I'm just impressed that people understand so many ants. Here in Denmark, I can say the black ants on the ground, and possibly the red ants, and then I can say the forest ants. That is all people know. General people, at least. Some are only at the forest and black, and some are only even at the black ants. So yeah, it's I'm impressed by how many species you have, and that's something else. I feel like when we were at Ancon, a lot of us ant nerds finally could accept just sitting and talking completely nerdy.
Because it's like we're not alone, right?
No,
it was that moment of realization. Yeah.
So strange. I mean, yeah. But that's off on a tangent. Going back to the next reply from our story, we have Ants Anthem saying that they always talk about Antkeeping in the greatest form. Now, I'm not 100% sure about this because I feel I've personally it's quite easy for me to see when I'm doing a video on a queen that is dying. People actually like it a lot more. So I'm not 100% sure. We'll say they always show. Yeah.
I think he means like the best bits. As in,
that's true.
So like, and this
that's
goes back to my
true.
point earlier about you skip so many the patient bit. You can just escape it. I can't even speak. Push it straight out of the way. So things might take weeks or months, and it's all of a sudden, my colony's gone from a queen to all these workers, and it's shown in like a minute video. So it's kind of like the highs of ant keeping. That's why TikTok's so popular, because it's all the good bits that people are just seeing a lot of the time.
It really is.
It kind of means like that then. The I don't know.
Yeah.
How you worded it.
I mean that's at least a good way of interpreting it.
It's like the highlight reels of ant keeping.
Right.
But I mean, it really is. The thing is just for at least for my YouTube videos, they take so much time. And my fiance, she even asked me today, why didn't you record the fly that was flying inside the nest? And I was just like, man, I didn't want to take my camera out and put my light in front and all of this. It was much easier to take a TikTok and say, oh, it's chaos, and put it out. I feel they go good together. Just like Camponico said earlier, it's great for when you don't really have the time to do a proper video. You could just do these shorter videos. But I feel we have a lot of positivity. Do you guys have anything directly negative you want to say towards these shorter format videos?
I wouldn't say negative. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
So I wouldn't say negative, but it's just the case of for new people, things might seem like they're sped up a lot more than they actually are. And one of the greatest things in this hobby is patience, right? And it is the problem with, I get a lot of kids, they haven't got much patience, and it comes with a kind of demographic on TikTok and all the rest of it. But yeah, everything seems a lot easier and a lot smoother than it might be in the real kind of hobbyist side, which is good and bad, so it doesn't put people off. But then you see my point of, there's a lot of expectations of, oh, that might develop so much quicker than it is. Well, that's not stressful at all. It was done in 30 seconds. A bit like when your metals escaped. That video, you could have done loads of shorts and they were everywhere on the floor. And then they were back in their enclosure. You know what I mean? It was very...
I did a lot. That cow got milked.
You just saw content. Your eyes lit up.
The thing is, they have escaped twice. And the first time, I took like one TikTok and then I got them all home. The second time I didn't even record anything. But the third time I was like, God damn, this is the worst escape I've ever seen. Let's get the camera out. Let's get the phone out. Let's record everything. And I mean, it hit a Danish newspaper, so I can't lie. It was a good thing to do, with 500,000 Danish views on my initial escape video. So yeah, it definitely did some good things. The funny thing is, people in the comments were just like, it finally happened. I've been waiting for this to happen." So yeah, but I take it for fun. A lot of it. The thing is with TikTok is you are hitting. At least that's the thing I feel with YouTube Shorts is it's a lot more directed towards what people are actually interested in, and I feel TikTok just hits a very wide audience, like everyone. I don't know. Of course, you guys, it's a bit hard to talk with you guys as you're not using TikTok too much.
Definitely. Well, I've noticed a lot with the Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. It's really like when I end up on that endless death scroll, it's some of the videos aren't even like tangentially related. They just show you whatever's next. It kind of seems like
Yeah.
like really I'll go from watching cat videos to car videos. Like in my CT Ants Instagram is I have only ant stuff on there. I don't have ants and reptiles and terrariums, things like that. But like, and then like I'll go straight from like cute cat videos, and then just all of a sudden car videos, and I'm all, meant this isn't what, because that's what I use my main Instagram for, is like car stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, so just completely unrelated things. Like these two accounts aren't linked at all. It's just, aside from, you can switch back and forth on Instagram, but like, yeah, it kind of seems like they just kind of give you whatever on a lot of the short video platforms.
Yeah. I'm just gonna end. I'm gonna end my escape story, because Casper did add something. Casper, the member who's in the live chat. Hello, Casper. He did actually mention something very funny. The newspaper I asked, the newspaper contacted me regarding us doing a story, and they said, "Did you make them escape on purpose?" So yeah, definitely did not do that. Sam, would you like to read out Fairly's response to our story?
Yeah, bear with me. Let me scroll all the way back down.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. So let's get the tension up. Are you all guys out in the? You are listening here? Are you ready for the greatest response to what the viewers think of TikToks? You can go ahead. Same. Can you repeat?
Great, but it's spelt GRATE.
Matt, you're so aggressive with you and your words.
Oh dear. I think he means great, right?
Sam just that's what I'm reading. I didn't realize it was spelled wrong.
But
so
yeah,
just to make sure,
me.
guys, if you're getting scared that Mr. Sam will come and hit you at wrong spelling, don't. I don't know. Sam is just aggressive today.
No, do you know why? It's because I noticed it. I point it out just in case I'm pronouncing it wrong. In my head, I try so hard whenever I write anything to like check it for typos. I think now I'm just super critical and everything else.
Yeah, I must say I've become very critical myself. I have dyslexia, meaning I'm writing everything wrong all the time.
I'm the same.
So every time I do a YouTube title, I copy the YouTube title and put it into Google Translate and see if Google Translate translates it correctly, or if they say you've spelled something wrong. So every time, put the even when I'm doing the text on the thumbnail, take it into the Google Translate to see if it's correct or not.
Triple check it.
Exactly. And Casey, will you take the last comment coming from an anonymous source?
The last one says, they have appealed to a wider audience, creating an educational way to start anting.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like if it, you want to reach out to those people that don't know they like it yet.
100%. And yeah, that's where my Danish TikTok have done really well, because it's quite fun. It's no secret that I'm working closely with Wakushi, So we talk a lot about strategizing different things. I mean, it's not marketing, and I'm not getting paid or anything. We are just good friends aiming for the same goal. But he, of course, like we talked about last episode, where we talked about the future of Antkeeping and nest-wise, I'm always recommending newbies to go with the Venus nest, which is just 3 test tubes and outworld. And I said it so many times that Wakushi, the Danish stats on the Wakushi websites went from we weren't even on top 10 to Denmark overtaking almost everyone to be top 3. So just by me saying I think you should go get the Venus from Wakushi, it went to the top 3 of worldwide, so only overtaken by the United States and United Kingdom. And I feel like I feel you have a lot of responsibility when you are talking, because you are talking with these people who are not in the community yet, so they don't have a clue what they're getting into. And that's where Lights Camera Ants luckily changed. But I feel like that was where he did something very dangerous. Within, he gave big live wasp and big live different animals to colonies. The colonies I would never recommend live feeding, especially not if it's an animal with an exoskeleton. But I think where I personally didn't like what he did was he didn't make a warning before that. So I'm gonna make a TikTok tomorrow, which you may have seen by now, where I will be feeding my Metabarbarus a quite big spider because it was running around my house. But before the video starts, I will do a warning of some sort. It may scare people away, but I don't want people. I want people to know that this is not how you should do ant keeping if you have a small colony. I remember especially Aesthetic Ants. I think it was Aesthetic Ants talking about how you can accidentally teach a newbie to feeding, like I'm feeding a spider, feeding a live spider to your 2-worker Lasius Niger Queen. Yeah, I feel like it's just something you need to understand when you are an influencer, especially on TikTok, when you're talking to people who are not within the ant keeping loop, that it has to be. It's hard because it has to be friendly towards newbies, but then again, that's maybe where it becomes boring. So
it is hard. It's that balance, isn't it? But you've got to understand that your actions and your videos, people are going to try and replicate and go, "Wow, look at this, let's copy." At the same time, yeah, I 100% get your point.
It's just a hard balance because I'm just sitting and recording my ants. But the thing with the shorts is, like my Mr. Barber's escape, 500,000 Danes saw that video of my Mr. Barber's escaping. And then I started showing them how I got them back and all of this, and it also got a ton of views. And it's just, you never know if a video goes viral. And I feel like you always need to have that in mind, that it can't go viral. And that's the thing with these YouTube shorts, Instagram reels, all of these shorter videos, is they can just go so randomly go viral. Like my King Ant video, I did not expect it to be interesting. I'm just saying all ants are females except the kings. And pretty much that what just went semi-viral. So
this is an interesting thing to note. Do you think that what we find interesting, and then what content you could put out for a TikTok and all the rest of it for non-ant keepers, is completely different kind of version of what they find interesting? Because us in our hobby, we're really going over the, oh wow, he's got a cool species, or he's got that to lay eggs, or something like that. But for them, they're going to find a completely different aspect of what they find interesting within our hobby.
So generally, what I think a lot of non-ant keepers find cool about ant keeping, actually, and this is why Lights Camera Ants got so popular so quick with those crazy feeding videos, is it if you don't keep ants and you don't necessarily care about the species or what kind of specialization they have, like, you're just gonna want to watch it tear apart another bug. Like, they
so true.
Like that when I was like 6 years old, 6 to like 13, I'd go catch bugs and just throw them in spiders' webs. Like,
yeah, I did it as well. I can't lie.
And like now it's kind of the same thing with my ants. When you're bored, you go with a big colony that can eat the bug. You just go and drop your cockroach or cricket in there, and you're just like, wow, that's cool to watch. But like, I don't know, most of the time I just end up killing the feeder bug anyways because I just want to get it over with just so I can make sure they're fed.
Yeah, I mean it is so true. I have done the same thing. It is interesting to just
And
yeah
like it's not that like people want to be mean or anything. It's just when you're new to ant keeping and kind of ignorant, you just you know, it doesn't make it it's not what am I trying to say?
yeah. Well, I lost mine as well.
No, I think it's. I completely agree with it. Not the live feeding, but the.
Yeah,
It's okay to.
what I'll say, Sam.
Yeah.
It's the ethics behind it.
Well,
That's the thing.
you took the
The
Yes,
words
when
out of
ethics.
you're
my mouth.
new, when
Yeah.
you're new and don't know the ethics yet, then
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, let's just watch it kill some bugs.
Yeah.
If a
And then
species needs to eat,
after you learn everything, you're all, oh, that's probably not good. I should quit doing that.
yeah. If a species just needs to eat, say for example, some of them only eat kind of like live crickets or something like that, then it has to eat, right? Otherwise, it's going to starve. But it's a case of if I've got a huge Niger colony, I'm never going to just put live insects in there with them because it's only for my personal enjoyment. Then that's where the line in my brain kind of goes, stops. I'm just doing this for some enjoyment, some human enjoyment, which I don't enjoy it, but that's where the human brain goes, right? For people that put it in for things like that. It's the same with anything. It's I've got a snake, and there's no way around it. You can't feed it vegetables. It eats rats.
No.
But do I keep rats here and kill them and all the rest of it? No, it's the same principle of make sure they're humanely put down somewhere else, and then I'll buy them frozen, and then I have to feed it. But I don't get any enjoyment out of it. But I keep the snake, so I need to feed it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It is just it's like it's whenever you feed them, it's just you can always go with the ethics of when you're feeding a roach. Well, how can you do that and kill it and blah blah blah. That's actually a thing. That's actually a thing I get a lot from TikTok is how you kill roaches. You're mad. You're evil. You're killing these animals to feed these other animals. That's a lot of the response I'm getting. Not so much. They are loud when I'm getting them at least. And I don't know if it's the hardcore vegans I'm getting on the live chats. It's especially when I'm doing live streams, or what it is. But it is about the ethics. You can try to give the roaches a good life, and especially when I take a roach, I've also showed it many times on live streams, and because a lot of people are, oh, why are they moving? Or you're a murderer, and you're doing this for views. And I'm always trying to be very cut the head off, squish the head so the head is completely movingless, and then cut the body in half to cut the limbs and the nerve system over. I think it's Ninoturo together with Ant Hood who taught me that, and it works quite well. So I'm always having ethics in my streams when I am feeding, because I've done a lot of Danish feeding video live streams where I've just sat down, talked with the viewers, and fed colonies. It is a big thing, and I feel like I've tried doing when I'm doing my TikToks and all of this with my ethics in the back of my head. Example, when I did feed them, like the spider today, I know that the spider would be dead very quick. And I know already now that I'm not going to do a video like this every week because I don't like killing spiders like that live. But it is interesting to observe because in a wild colony, a spider may as well fall down. And if you have a big colony and they have enough space, again, the ethics is, are you giving it to a small Lasius niger colony who go around biting things? Or are you giving it to a massive Metabarbarus with giant heads that can just cut the head off the spider? I think it's just important to have the ethics in the videos and make it clear for the people that this is not the only part of Antkeeping. And Antkeeping is the enjoy of having a colony with one queen, having a colony with one queen and 5 workers, and growing them up, and not seeing them go crazy. I mean, you can of course keep ants just to see them go crazy, but I personally feel it's not the real ethics. But it may also just be because I am old compared to these new ant keepers.
It's the same sort of principle of just because things eat something in the wild, so they might, take down some live prey in the wild and things like that. Do we need to actually feed them live at home? And kind of play God as you will, right? We don't need to see it. It's only for our own entertainment a lot of the time if we put live things in there, which for me I don't like at all. So that's why in work, obviously, Rich is a 100% vegan, like as vegan as you get. The
Oh, I didn't know
compromise.
that.
You did not know.
No, I did not know
You
that.
see, you
I
find
missed that.
something new every day, or learn something new.
So I just triggered Rich before when I said my vegan comment.
Yeah, but he wouldn't mind because it's the case of we made exceptions. So he knew full well that ants, they need some protein, get their protein from insects. Yeah. It's what has to happen. But we just fed kind of frozen bugs, so already, like for birds and stuff like that. You just buy boxes of frozen bugs and things like that. Take them out the freezer, snap them in half, put them in, and the ants were completely fine with it. But it's little things like that. Then there was no enjoyment of us feeding live to anything because we both disagree with that, and the ants got what they needed. So it's the same thing of just because in the wild they eat live, am I going to go out and feed everything live? But I don't see the point.
But that's the thing also.
Even then, most wild ants are scavengers.
Yeah, exactly. I was just
like
gonna say
the only time ants really eat, like, are predatory is if they're protecting their nest, and then they kill the threat and just happen to eat it because it's there.
Very few species actually go out and attack something as well.
What's it like? Crapjaws and Neopanera?
Yeah,
bull ants and stuff like that.
True army ants, things like that just devour.
Yeah, but those are not the ants you see devouring different things in the TikToks. I have on another subject. I can't remember their name. I think it was Royal Ants. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I remembered he did a few videos that to be honest, I've only heard of this. I've not seen it too much, so I don't know the true story behind it. But again, this was some of the things that came up in the We Don't Approve segment last year. By the way, if you don't know what We Don't Approve is, it was something Aesthetic Ants started before Lights Camera, right before high-tech. What am I saying? Right before Lights Camera Ants went crazy and gave the big live feeding. Just in the middle before it went a little bit too far in my head. Aesthetic Ants launched this We Don't Approve, that he wanted people to spam in the comments of things that we didn't approve of. Sadly, it didn't really have the effect we wanted, or at least Aesthetic wanted. I'm gonna be completely honest. I never really did it. I liked it when I saw people do it. But it was like with gel nests, people say, "Oh, we don't approve." But they did the information didn't either way. The we don't approve things didn't really go to plan. I think EA also he didn't. It turned out to be a little bit of a bully thing instead of a learning thing. But back when We Don't Approve got started, there was also this thing about Royal Ants, I think, with them testing different foods on the ant colony. Again, I'm sorry if it's the wrong colony, if it's the wrong creator I'm talking about. But they fed like bananas, they fed candy, they fed one thing and another thing. And a lot of people got upset that you should not show the world that you can feed ants everything. And that's something I personally never really understood, because I love, when I had one colony, I loved testing different food on them. Now where I have a lot of colonies, it's become maintenance, so it's just a roach here, a roach there, and sugar snaps to all of them. But yeah, guys, what do you think of food testing? Is it something you approve of, or is it something you also have something against?
It doesn't really bother me, but yeah, like you said, it's maintenance. So like if you feed your ants weird stuff, then you have to clean up weird stuff, and that's kind of a pain sometimes.
Yeah.
What about you, Sam?
For me, I don't really mind. Within reason, of course. There are certain things that I just don't see the point, and again, I think it would under more our enjoyment as opposed to anything else. When you start getting to, if you're going to feed them extreme stuff and stupid things, I can see why some people...
Do you have any...
Well, it's like... I guess things are probably. But then I'd like to say no one would do it, but they're going to experiment, and somebody says they're going to feed their ants some beer because it's a source of sugar, or something stupid like the right extreme end of it. Because then it's it's not about the ants then anymore, is it? It's about just somebody having a laugh.
True.
I feel like people could be against it just because the comment you made earlier. If someone documents this and then a kid sees on TikTok that somebody's giving them ants some beer or something stupid like that, then everybody wants to try it. I think that could possibly why people could be a little bit upset about it, as opposed to experts doing it quietly behind the scenes to try and work out.
Didn't a bunch of people get mad because somebody filled their ants with booger?
Yeah, that was Ants Canada. He did it.
Yeah, like it's not like a booger's not gonna hurt anything, but like at the same time, it's like gross. Why would you do that? Like,
yeah, a lot of people got upset, but I'm like, oh man, you click away from the video. It looks disgusting, but it's natural.
I have pavement ants. Like I've seen pavement ants in a public bathroom licking pee off the floor. So like,
lovely.
At the same time, it's like, well, is it really that bad? Because ants are scavengers. All they're really looking for is sugar and protein.
I'm gonna just interrupt and say the people behind the ant pot do not recommend that you're peeing into your ant setups.
Yeah, don't do that. That's disgusting. But in the wild, where I have seen wild Tetramorium, they were licking. It's disgusting. But like they only want sugar and protein. So like if it's got sugar and protein, they'll probably take it.
Exactly. I feel it's just a dilemma. I feel like you can't go out and say just going back to TikTok, you can't go out and say you shouldn't show it because then you don't spread the word of Antkeeping. Because just think with my Danish TikTok, 22,000 people are following me, and I know at least 500 or 400 of them or 300. Very low percentage, but still a big percentage are getting, or a lot of people are getting into the hobby. And yeah, it's just having the ethics with doing videos, like feeding a booger. From my perspective, it doesn't matter at all. It's just maybe a bit disgusting, but it's natural again. So yeah, I feel it's just a hard thing. And
but
I feel
because it is gross, that's what gets a lot of people interested because
exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
I think there's a development when you become an ant keeper. Like when you first start keeping ants, it's definitely all for you. But once you get used to taking care of your ants and you like start to develop a care for them, and you're like, oh wait, these are pets. Like your attention goes from this is for me to like the satisfaction comes from like this is what's best for the ants. Like you kind of grow into that like as a keeper, I guess.
You start getting attachments to them, and then you go hang. It's a bit like a dog, right? You want to give that dog the best possible life, and then if you don't think you're doing anything, how many people would go out and spend a stupid amount of money to make sure, their dog's the best treated dog in the world or the most spoiled? It's the same principle.
Yeah, it's also the same as why don't you get your ants fighting each other? I remember so clearly when I was 14 years old and initially starting to see Ants Canada back in 2014. I thought, why don't you make them fight? It would be fun to see your fire ants fight your crazy ants and all of this. And it's just, then you guys start getting into the hobby and people start asking me, make them fight. Like, no. Never.
You've put so much love and time into those colonies, right? Even if you take away even if you're a heartless human, take away the actual attachment you've got to them, you've wasted an incredible amount of time. But then a few people are like that, but then most people would go, hang on a minute, forget the time aspect. How much love and care have you actually put into these colonies? And yeah, there's no amount of money that would make me do that for some of the cool species I've got.
No.
It just wouldn't happen.
It's fun because I was getting a little bit tired up of Antkeeping, and it was a lot for me because I used a lot of time on it. And then I took my whole week off Antkeeping completely, and I just took a trip to Italy, where I ended up looking, of course, at the wild ants. And just
Yeah.
by looking at the wild ants, because we have so little diversity where I live, I never see anything but Lasius niger. But to come down there and see the crazy diversity, just by walking a 5-minute trip, I could see 10 different species. It just got my respect so much up, and I fell completely in love. And now I find myself just looking at my ants at home again. Something I really came out of, and just everything became a routine. Feed them, take the food out, record, bum bum bum. But yeah, you just don't realize how much care you take and love you feel for these ants, because it's weird saying it out loud, but it's true.
It was like anything, you kind of forget, not that they're there. I don't know what the word I'm trying to, not complacent, but you get used to it, right? And then you forget. It's like same with anything that you're really really fond of. It's a bit like if somebody gets you food every day, and then all of a sudden that person doesn't get you food, then you realize how much you miss the food, right? It's the same thing. You just need to take a bit of a break, and it's easy for you to burn yourself out because you're so involved in producing so much content and different videos, and you're already like 2 steps ahead of what you're going to do next week, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it might be hard for you to just sit back and enjoy not what you've got. That makes it sound bad, but you get what I'm saying.
No, it's
what's
true,
in front of you.
And I feel it's something, the thing with these with TikToks showing newbies and keeping in a whole different way. I'm just afraid that people are coming into the hobby for the wrong reasons, because I'm afraid people are coming into the hobby to see, like when I'm saying Antkeeping, the most common response I'm getting is, "Oh, I love the time lapse of them digging their nest," and I would love to make a time lapse like that myself of an ant colony digging a nest. It is something on my to-do list to get a nest that they can actually to do something like that. Not for the video, but just for my own enjoyment. But it's fun because from an outside perspective, that is from the older generation, like our generation, that is what people want to see, time lapses of ants just digging nests. Which is understandable. It's not really what I see in the hobby, but it's understandable that you want to see ants create naturalistic environments, just like Antscapes. Ryan, he loves doing the naturalistic things. I'm curious to see what the new generation, the people who grew up with TikTok and keeping as testing as ant food and giving live food. I'm curious to their perspective into ant keeping, because it may just change as they get into the hobby, because we do have a lot of young people like Ants Jr., who's in the hobby for just the reasons I love. Yeah, I don't know, guys. What do you think? Because I'm really afraid that people are inspired to get into the hobby for the wrong reasons. But then again, is it really bad getting people into the hobby for whatever reason? Because people in the hobby must be good for the hobby. What do you guys think?
I think those videos kind of trick you when you first getting into it, because you do see all those exciting things, but once you've put in all that effort into raising a colony, then your opinion changes, and you're like, oh, I don't want to watch my ants struggle to eat this big bug, like those kind of things. Because like I used to, like when I first started keeping my pavement ants, you know, they're pretty decent at swarming. And I'd throw in like a little box elder bug or something like that and watch them fight and finally take him out. But like now that I'm a few years into keeping my ants, like that's not exciting anymore. It's just annoying to watch them struggle and to eat. So like now everything's just about everything's pre-killed. I just, dispatch the feeder insect so I know my ants ate. So like I do think those crazy feeding videos kind of trick people into keeping ants.
Definitely. What do you think, Sam?
I don't think people getting into the hobby is a bad thing at all. Well, I take that back. It's not a bad thing at all, 100%. It's like any kind of industry or hobby at the minute, because it's still quite small, but it's on the rise. There will be kind of, I guess you can call them bad people or people with the wrong intentions getting in there, but it's like any industry or hobby that's growing. The more people you get, then you start getting the bad eggs and all the rest of it. As long as you've got the solid foundations of the influencers or somebody to set kind of the guidelines or the standards, I think you're fine. It's when I think a hobby goes downhill is when it's kind of founded by the bad people as opposed to the bad people joining. I think then it's got a problem because there's no standards or no bar set of, hang on, this is the right way to do it. So everybody's misguided.
But would you then say, of course, we have Ants Canada, who's a quite solid base. But would you say if like Camera Ants, of course, again, he have changed. So I'm not gonna say him as a bad guy.
Yeah.
But at a time, he looked a lot like the bad guy and got the most attention throughout the hobby, getting triple the amount of views of Ants Canada. Would you say he would be a bad guy, or would you just what? Of course, again, he has changed, so today he's not that. But at that time, what would you say about that?
Well, I didn't agree with this kind of the content he was putting out, but at the same time, it doesn't mean everybody who watches his videos is going to agree with it either. Even though he gets the views and he gets a decent amount of likes, it doesn't mean every single person watched that and went, oh, "Okay, I 100% agree with what he's doing." It was more the quality of his videos and the way he puts them out there. They were the best, right? So he's
they were well
going to
made.
get the most views and the most likes and everything like that. But I think it's an interesting thing to think of. You don't know every person who watched that agrees with him.
No, and I think that's we are gonna go to the Ant News segment in just a sec. But I think it's something I really experienced when I fed my ants something live for the first time. I gave them like a daddy long leg, so a little spider, and they took it out immediately. And I took a video, and people were like, and a lot of people like, do it again. I want more. This is new. So many positive comments saying, do it again, do it again, do it again. And then those 2 comments saying that's animal cruelty, and that's the only thing I could think of because that was what I agreed with. I did not agree with my own ethics. Just because seeing, one thing is to just feed a spider and look at them. Another thing is to document it. But I recently got a comment on that video again saying, "Do it again," and I looked in, and 500 people had liked the comment. I like it. Do it again. And there was just no one rooting for the animal cruelty.
And this is the hard thing for you. It's if you've got your own ethics, but as a content creator, your goal is to grow and to appeal to people watching your videos, right?
Exactly.
So this is the hard situation you're in, because for me, if somebody turned around and went, "Oh, do that," I'd go, "Not a hope in hell." You know what I mean? I'll stick by what I've got. But for you, you work so hard for people to try and get onto your channel and then stick with the channel and create content that people want to see. I guess it can be quite conflicting for you, right?
But that's also the thing. So many people were upset of Lights Camera Ants. And I myself was upset, but I'm so jealous, man. I am so annoyed I didn't do it. I mean, he has a reputation in this tiny part of the hobby, but overall, he has 100,000 people subscribing, and now he isn't doing it. And in 3 years, he will still have 100,000 people, and people won't care that what he did 4 years ago. So I can't say anything, but I'm jealous of the guy because he did it. He took the ethics aside and blew out and got so much attention and got so many people towards the hobby. So I mean I can't say anything, but I'm jealous because he really did what I dreamed of doing and dream of doing. Is he went big. But I think we shall go to, before we take an outro and hear our final thoughts, I think we shall go into this week's Ant News. And yeah, I know for a fact that Mr. Casey have, in fact, an Ant News this week.
Oh, I do. It is the Iowa State University Insect Zoo Ant Cam. So it's a 24-hour live stream of their Myrmecocystis mexicanus formicarium.
And
it's pretty neat.
How do we find this? How do we find this link once more?
It's on YouTube, but I will share it to my Instagram when the episode's released.
Wonderful. So yeah, go follow CT Casey on Instagram. Yeah, CT Ants is the Instagram name.
Yep.
What about you, Sam? Any exciting things you have discovered this past 7 days? Any content creators? Anything?
So actually, thinking about it, I was going to mention a new YouTuber or a new channel that's kind of popped up. And it's Ross's Ants or Ross Ants.
Amount of force.
Sorry. I'm just getting to YouTube to subscribe to him. What is Ross's Ants?
So yeah, ROSS and then Ants. See if you can find him.
10 subscribers, and he will be number 11.
Very nice.
Officially subscribed.
So yeah, it's
for
just
all of you,
another.
for all who will go to Ross Ants, please say the Antpod sent you. Yeah, go on.
I like supporting, the local community for a start, and then also the fact that there's a slightly younger Antkeeper, not young, but around my age as well. So of course, I'm going to be a bit biased and go give him some love, kind of deal.
Totally fair. Can respect that. That's also what we do this Ant News for, is to say exciting things, or just small things like a new YouTuber. And I'll go into war now, because something truly terrible have happened. This is the world's most famous Ant News segment in the world, of course. And something truly
I know what this is going to be.
horrible hit us the other day when the man himself, Mr. Antimatters, launched a new thing called ANN News. I mean, AAN News. What is even that? Ant News Network News. He's gone out and he's done the Ant News for us. In all due respect, I do have I'm glad he's gone out and done it. So yeah, Antimatters have launched. It was only the pilot episode, but I'm hoping it will continue. Although I do not understand the name ANN News. That stands for Ant News Network News. I think I would go on for AN News and Network News, but
so you can't help but throw a little dig in there. You have to.
No, I have to. Although I think he did it on purpose. I'm not so sure. But yeah, Antimatters have launched Ant News, ANN News, and that was actually not supposed to be my news, because even before that, the same man, Antimatters, launched a new liquid feeder. And the reason I thought this was special was because it was a liquid feeder like none I've ever seen before. If you're hearing this, Antimatters, can you post a picture on your Instagram? I'm counting on you hearing this, so people can go to Instagram and see your new liquid feeders. Your Antimatters on Instagram, I think. But yeah, he have launched this new feeder where it is like a 30 millimeter cup, like a little cup thing, and then you put the feeder, the feeding module inside. I don't quite know what to say. It is a small, I don't know. It's a small 3D printed insert you put into the bottle, and then the ants can go down and drink from it. And the reason I'm saying it in this Ant News is because it's not like any liquid feeder I've seen before. A lot of these liquid feeders today I see is just the same as anyone else, like a tower, and then a 3D printed base plate where the ants can come in and drink. And yeah, I would just like to shout out Antimatters and also sue him for taking the Ant News segment. No, that dumb man. Yeah, goddamn. Think if we were to have him on the next show next week, that would not be good. Maybe we will be, because the Leafcutter episode has been changed a little bit around. But yeah, saying that, let's go into the final part, the outro part. And I have a bird singing in my ear saying that Casey is currently on the bathroom. So let's pretend he's here. But just skip Casey and start with he sent something. He's back. Okay.
Hey.
I'm back. I hurried.
Wonderful. Sam, starting with you. What are your final thoughts on TikTok, Instagrams, and Shorts regarding short videos after our little discussion tonight?
I think they're going to be very beneficial for the hobby. It condenses all the best bits, which is going to bring all the new ant keepers and kind of spark new interests with people that aren't ant keepers into the hobby. And even for experienced ant keepers, it's fun to watch the good bits now and again when we've been stressing all day doing all the boring bits that aren't the most fun parts of it. So I think they're a good thing.
Wonderful. What about you, Casey? final thoughts about today's topic?
Same here. I think it's good way. It's been a good way for it to reach more people and to like grow the hobby and get more people interested. Like there's some edgy content, but in general, I think for the most part, it's been beneficial to the hobby.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, I don't know if you said it directly, Sam, but you said it like the good people will most of the time come through. And I think the Antkeeping will balance out. So although I think a lot of people may come into the hobby for the wrong reason, if you are coming in for the wrong reason, you can't not help the hobby. You will still show the hobby to even more people, and even though you may leave, you may show the people to your local friend, your school friend, or whoever it is, and let them join the hobby for the right reason. I'm seeing it's fun because my parents are not innkeepers, and they're talking with their different friends about, oh, I have a son who've come in the newspaper and all of these things and he's keeping ants, how weird. But then their friends may suddenly think, oh, that's interesting. And that's the thing, Antkeeping is for all ages. So it's just about reaching out. And I think, although TikTok all of these shorter videos may introduce maybe some of the wrong people, it's not bad. It can't be bad, like Sam said. It can't be bad for new people to join the hobby. It will balance out. That will be my final thoughts. And with that being said, guys, of course, and per tradition, we have not sorted out an outro segment. But today I'm just gonna go out and say, let's skip it, because I feel we've had our final words. So I'm just gonna say, next week is planned to be an episode about inbreeding ants, featuring Mr. Antimatters, if everything goes well. And with that being said, thank you for listening to today's podcast. I hope you have enjoyed it, and a special thanks to, of course, Simon, who's still listening live on the chat. So special thanks to Simon. Thank you for the family member support. If you want to be a family member, that is on the Ant Alpha YouTube channel or the Antscapes YouTube channel in the family level. But yeah, thank you for listening. If you have found this episode interesting, please share it to all of your friends and families. If you have found this episode very aggressive towards some people and you've really hated this episode, let us know in the comments and we can start a good discussion, because all opinions are fair opinions. And of course, we are a bit older than the big part of who's watching the TikTok. I mean, I don't know if we're older because I'm watching a lot of TikTok, but we have different ages and we have different thoughts. So yeah, if you have any things you want to add, let's create a discussion in the comments. But yeah, that has been it for this week's episode. Don't forget to share this episode with all of your friends, and hopefully we will see you in the next episode. Shall we all say bye together, guys? On 3. Yeah. All together at once. 1, 2, 3.
Bye.
Bye.